let's start with the big thing that happened, and that is that the CrossFit sale is officially complete. So Eric Roza is now officially the 100% owner of CrossFit. That announcement was made last week, or was it weekend? It was over the weekend, I think.
I want to say it was last Thursday.
Probably, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, because we had already recorded our weekly episode.
Okay, so it was late last week. And some things that we learned from that is that Berkshire Partners, a private equity firm, is part of the group financing the sale as ownership partners. Now, I am no business major. A lot of this stuff is foreign to me, but I know that was something that caught the attention of some people, that there, and we had heard that before, that there were investors that were brought in, but now we know exactly who it was.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people hear private equity firm and they're like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on here? What is going to be their involvement? What's going to be their say? And is this going to be a situation with, there's, various forms of private equity and venture capital being one of them. And that immediately harkens back to the Anthos days, 2014, when, Greg's ex-wife, Lauren, wanted to buy out the company. She partnered with Anthos, who was going to back them. And it was going to come to light, eventually came to light that Anthos had some less than genuine intentions with things. And so that kind of had everyone on edge a little bit. And I think that hearing Berkshire, which is obviously a big name in the business world, whether it's Berkshire Hathaway or Berkshire Partners, I don't know if they're related or not, but I think it's important to kind of take a deeper look at what they do as a private equity firm and the nature of their investments across the spectrum. So right now, just kind of doing a little light reading on the weekends myself, Berkshire is currently invested in 20 other companies, one of which is being Portillo's, if you're familiar, that delicious Chicago beef.
All right.
And then that beef game. CrossFit is actually listed on their website right now as an investment and this is what I think is important. Their stated investment is being growth capital.
Okay. So for the business ignorant of us in the audience, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to play the dumb guy here because that's exactly what I am when it comes to this stuff. That sounds like they're trying to provide money for growth.
Yes. So growth capital, as far as an investment, is usually a type of private equity investment that comes usually as a part of a minority investment. So not the majority stake in when it comes to ownership. And it's usually made in companies that are a little bit further along, that are looking for money or capital in this instance to either restructure or grow, or maybe expand on some things that maybe they don't have the cash flow currently or the cash on hand to finance those types of things. It can also be used in acquisitions as well. That's my understanding. I'm kind of doing a little bit of research. So it seems to me that Berkshire Partners in this instance would be as a growth capital fund to help maybe provide financial assistance for any of the new developments that Eric and his team might want.
Okay.
Potentially, and I think this is something that will have to come out in discussions with Eric if he's willing to share. Them being a minority, having a minority stake in the company, primarily to provide cash flow to maybe help the company grow for Eric's vision going forward. Not necessarily to be this, heavy-handed tyrant,
right?
Like some people might think, to drastically alter the course of the company and what it's doing. It could be wrong, obviously, but that generally seems to be the situation. And now there's some people that might be looking at, private equity, what they're trying to do is get a return on their investment.
Well, that was my question. So what's in it for them? That if they're just providing cash, they're going to look to get something back, right?
Yeah. So they're trying to have their investment realized at some point, and they're trying to either cut costs and increase profits at some point, which in some aspects isn't a bad thing. Now, if you're familiar with Greg and his mantra and some of the things that used to be part of the old guard, Greg didn't necessarily want a bigger slice of the pie. He just wanted a bigger pie. And by virtue of that, and now, there's some good things about that in terms of not trying to be rent seeking, as he used to use, which was the term that Anthos was looking for. And I think there's a way to not be rent seeking, but also increase the company's profitability have them be more cash flow positive, and put them in a better financial health going forward. And I think that this growth capital, depending on how it's invested, could help that. And I think it's important to look at the nature of some of their portfolio history as well. And this is also up that I found. So the Berkshire Partners portfolio history includes 68 former clients on top of the 20 that they already have. So just so you should know, of their current investments, 50% of their current portfolio, that investment has been, their investment in stake in the company has lasted longer than 5 years.
Okay.
So they've been involved longer than 5 years. So that, to me, that gives a little bit more ease to they're just trying to like kind of like a pump and dump style. Like we're just trying to acquire some stake, cut costs, maximize profits for the short term, and then get out.
Yeah.
But when you take a look at their portfolio history, you have 68 former clients. It includes some big clients, Grocery Outlet, which is the Grocery Outlet Bargain Market, that jingle. Husky Tools, Party City, Papa Gino's, Rockport, which is, I believe, part of Reebok now.
I think they are, yeah.
And a handful of regional and international railway operators. So growth capital, specifically as an investment, represents 16 of those 68 past investments, so about 24%. And the average investment term for their growth capital investments is about 4.25 years. So if you think about that potentially holding truth, and this is obviously all just, kind of making us based off assumptions and kind of looking forward. If they stick around for 4.25 years before they pull their investment or whatever deal they have worked out, you would hope that in 4.5 years, that's enough time for Eric and his team to really sink their teeth in and put the company and the community in a position to where them leaving or getting out if they needed to wouldn't be that big of a deal. I think the CrossFit community is more resilient than that to begin with, even if that turns into something where it becomes fractured and just independent gyms and stuff like that. But the fact that that average length of investment for growth capital being more than 4 years gives you a little bit more time. Okay, there's a little bit more leeway here for them to wait and see and actually hopefully cause some longer term goals to start to catch into effect.
So this is my question. And again, just coming from a pure place of ignorance, they give Eric this money. They're going to want something in return. Right. So when does that start happening? Probably don't even know. And how does that happen? So where's the money to pay them for their investment and for them to make a profit on it? Where's that coming from? Is that growth of the games? Is that sponsorships? Like they agree to get a cut of that?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it comes down to it's bigger than that. It's not like a specific thing. I think since now they have probably an ownership stake of the company, a certain percentage of the company's revenue is perfect. I think it's just bigger than,
Okay. So that makes sense.
Oh, and so when you take a look at some of the investing approach behind growth equity, I think it's also important. These are a couple of the reasons why that I found that kind of fit in line with what's going on now with what growth capital investments typically feature. Company is cash flow positive, profitable, or approaching profitability. Now, I don't know if CrossFit is there now, but they were at one point. So they're kind of tiptoeing around that. Company may be founder owned and often has no prior institutional investment. That's outside of the loan that Greg took to pay off Lauren. That was the case before. Let's see. What was that one? This one kind of popped up. I wasn't quite sure. Investment returns are primarily a function of growth, not leverage. That I couldn't put quite a finger to, but that feels more in line with what the investment would be here. Is the goal is to grow CrossFit to fulfill its potential, and then the returns would be based on that. Not necessarily that we're going to leverage our weight around the company and make cuts and things like that. Right. So,
that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people breathed a big sigh of relief when this thing was complete, and we're still waiting to hear more from Eric about everything that's going on. And we are hoping to talk to him at some point.
There was 1% of the company it gets put in a
Right.
non-voting trust for Maggie and the kids,
which I think is fair. Absolutely.
Totally fair.
Yeah. So it is now full speed ahead. So
Yeah.
we will have more on that as we continue to dive into it. And like I said, we are planning on at some point sitting down with Eric. Once I think he has some time on his schedule, we continue to be talking to his people. We are continuing to talk to his people to try to get that scheduled. And we look forward to sitting down with him and hopefully learning more about this and how this is all going to work and what his overall vision for that growth is going to be. So Eric Roza is officially now your owner of CrossFit.